Hey there, and welcome to the Beyond Blood Sugar podcast. Some of you know me, some of you don't. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Trina Krug, and I'm so excited that you are here. If you've ever felt frustrated, stuck, confused, all the things about blood sugar, diabetes, metabolism, insulin levels, diet, you are not alone. And this podcast is most definitely for you. So, this is just a what they call episode zero, which is basically just a quick introduction into who I am, why I started this podcast, and what you can expect in upcoming episodes. So, whether you're struggling with cravings, energy crashes, weight gain, blood sugar issues, or just feel like maybe your doctor isn't telling you the full story and maybe they don't know the full story, but this podcast will help you kind of connect the dots and hopefully to finally understand what might really be happening in your body. So, my journey into the world of diabetes and diet began with my son's diagnosis of type 1 when he was 8 years old. So, doctors told us he could eat whatever he wanted and simply take insulin to manage his blood sugar. So, the standard like eat whatever you want and just cover it with insulin. Very common. But I quickly saw the flaw in that approach in that the more carbs he ate, the more insulin he needed, and the more unpredictable his blood sugar became, the ups and the downs and all the things. And it was like this constant battle. And I realized that the advice that we were given really wasn't overly helpful. Years later, I was diagnosed myself with adult onset type 1. And initially, the doctors misdiagnosed me as type 2, which is actually very common in this case. And it kind of placed me on this path that so many others are forced to navigate, a system that hyper focused on blood sugar while completely ignoring insulin. So I up and quit my engineering job and I went back to school and got a master's degree in integrative health with a specialization in holistic nutrition, even further focused on diabetes. I just felt this calling and I couldn't ignore it anymore. So during this time, my husband was then diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and his case barely met the diagnostic threshold. Okay. So doctors weren't overly concerned. I was, because I knew enough at this point, and I knew something critical was missing from the treatment plan that they gave him. He literally just fell through the cracks like so many other people. He was told, well, lose a little bit of weight, you know, don't eat pasta and donuts and stuff, and you'll be fine, right? When it comes to diagnostics, the American Diabetes Association's criteria focus only on blood glucose, blood sugar, overlooking insulin resistance, which is the very issue that precedes diabetes by years, even decades. So while my husband's blood sugar ultimately remained in the reasonably normal range, I watched his insulin levels stay very high. I saw his weight increase, his sugar cravings intensify, his metabolic health decline, all while doctors, assured him everything was under control simply because his blood sugar was in range, right? And I could see the damage that high insulin was causing, even though no one in the medical field was addressing it or even concerned with it. So I became obsessed with understanding why insulin resistance was being ignored. I joined Facebook groups for type 2 diabetics, pre-diabetics, and I saw the same cycle repeating itself over and over and over. Thousands of people were monitoring their blood sugars while unknowingly living with chronically high insulin levels, which is the real driver behind their worsening health, mind you. They were given medication instead of solutions, and diet modifications were almost never prioritized. So that's when I decided to take my research even further. And I'm now currently working on my PhD in functional nutrition, focusing my dissertation on how insulin should be recognized as kind of a pre-diagnostic marker and how dietary strategies, particularly low carb approaches, can be used to prevent these metabolic challenges from ever getting to type 2 or even pre-diabetes. The truth is, type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance are skyrocketing, and the conversation needs to change. Now, have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, but not seeing changes, not seeing results? Have you ever wondered why, despite taking medication, if that's what your doctor told you to do, and following your doctor's advice, that you still feel exhausted and stuck and frustrated and things aren't lasting? They're not changing for good. The truth is that you've never really been given the full picture. And that's exactly why this podcast was born. So that leads us into, who is this podcast for? If any of these sound like you, then it's for you. You feel hungry all the time, even after eating. You struggle with cravings for sugar or carbs. You feel exhausted after eating meals, or you crash on the afternoons. You've been told your blood sugar is fine, but you know that it's not. You know something isn't right. Maybe you've been told your blood sugar is high and you don't know what to do about it because your doctor gave you no advice and offered only a pill or a shot. Maybe you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still gaining weight and your blood sugars aren't budging. Maybe you're tired of generic advice and you just want some real answers that actually make sense. So if you nodded along with any of these, you're not broken, okay? And there is a way forward. Your body isn't failing you. It's responding to the signals that it's getting, okay? And my goal is to help you understand what's really happening and hopefully how to address fixing it. So, what you can expect from this podcast are a couple things. First, a no BS, straight to the point breakdown of how insulin, metabolism, and blood sugars actually work. You can expect practical, real world strategies that you can start using today to help you feel better and to support your health. You can expect us to focus on the root cause, which is what I'm all about, the root cause, not just a band aid solution that doesn't actually fix anything. Okay. You can expect episodes that challenge mainstream advice. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you are one that wants to follow the mainstream advice, this might not be for you. Okay. Because let's be honest, a lot of it is outdated and it's misleading and it's not helping. Okay. It's not helping. So, the last thing is, what you can expect is conversations that feel like you're sitting down with a friend. That's what I hope. Okay. Because I know all of this stuff can feel overwhelming and I want to make it simple and approachable for you. Okay. Because I've been there, my family's been there. And it's what I'm dedicating the whole rest of my career and um, my professional path in life is this particular topic. Okay. So I am getting over a cold, so I apologize for my constant clearing of my throat. Well, I don't do that very often, so it's not like you're going to happen on every single episode, but right now they're going to because my son has pneumonia, by the way, and I am getting over my own respiratory infection. So, anyway, I will be dropping episodes weekly covering everything from how to lower insulin naturally, the truth about carbs, why you might always feel hungry, and so much more. I'm going to give you the disclaimer here, though, that I am not a medical doctor, and everything you find and you hear in this podcast is for information purposes only and is not to be taken as medical advice. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, if any of this resonates with you, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around because in episode 1, we're going to dive into why blood sugar isn't the full story. Okay. It's going to be an absolute game changer because most people think that blood sugar is the main issue, when in reality, insulin resistance starts years before blood sugar even becomes a detectable problem. Okay. So I cannot wait to go on this journey with you. If you have a friend or family member who needs to hear this, share this podcast with them. The more people who understand insulin resistance and metabolic health, the more we can shift the conversation and start seeing real change. Okay. And I'll give you another disclaimer, by the way. Um, I'm just a real down to earth person. So you're not going to see polished YouTube videos and overproduced episodes. I'm just here to have a conversation. And I hope that you want to go along this journey with me and have a conversation as well. So that is a wrap on episode 0 I will see you in the first official episode one, where we'll start breaking down what's really going on beneath the surface. I hope you join in next week.